600 subscribers. That's so crazy. It made me so happy. And I also want to apologise. There's someone somewhere doing some drilling, banging, something that they're currently not doing, but they will start up again. So I'm really sorry if you can hear that in the background. But today's video is going to be my January reading wrap-up. I had such a good month. I just read banger after banger after banger. And I think I read 7 off the top of my head, which is a lot for me. I always start off really well in January and then it tapers off towards the end of the year, but we're coming in strong. As always, I write all my thoughts down in this reading journal, which I got from a Crate a couple months back, and I'm obsessed with how this sounds. Yes, if we open it up, here are all my thoughts. So let's get straight on with it because I've got a lot to talk about. So the first book I read in January was one that I picked up because it was the Waterstones Fantasy Book of the Month for January. I work at Waterstones, so whenever I have the books already, or it's one that I really want to read, I pick it up so I can talk about it to customers. And that was Voyage of the Damned by Frances White. This copy is stunning. It was an Crate copy. Again, I can't remember what month unless I've got it in here, which I don't. So, no clue what month this was from. But this was so good. I didn't expect to love this as much as I did, but I gave it 5 stars. The cover is stunning. The naked cover as well. Even more stunning. Okay. I literally loved everything about this. So we are in a fantasy world, and essentially this is a locked room murder mystery on a boat, but in a fantasy world with magic, and it was just incredible. There were so many elements to it. I loved it so much. We're following Dee, our main character, who is from the lowest of all the provinces. He's from the Fish province, and he is one of the blessed. There's one blessed in each of the provinces, and Dee is the blessed for the Fish province. Except the thing is, they've actually been lying, and he has no blessing. He's just pretending because his dad hasn't been very faithful to his mum, and his dad doesn't want anyone to know that, so they pretend that Dee is blessed, and they're all on this boat ride, all of the blessed, to go to a mountain, the mountain of the goddess. And whilst upon this boat, people start dying, and then it's a murder mystery to try and figure out who the murderer was. There's a little bit of romance. It was incredible. The main character Dee, he was just so funny. Like, his narrative voice was hilarious. Just everything he said was a joke. I can see why some people might not like that, but I really did. There was also a little girl in it whose name we learn right at the end, but he just like never bothers to learn her name and just calls her Grasshopper because she's from the Grasshopper province. Which is funny, but she was so cute. I really liked her character. Their relationship was one of my favourite parts of the book. Like a protective older brother. I loved it so much. It was so sweet. I literally cared about all of the characters. When people started dying, I was like, oh, they're dead. But I didn't guess any of the plot twists. I spoke to a few people who did guess the plot twists, but I didn't see any of it coming. So yeah, I'd highly recommend this one. I gave it 5 stars. least favourite from the month, but I still really enjoyed it. And that was Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldry. This is the sequel to Legends and Lattes, and I definitely preferred Legends and Lattes a lot more than this one, but it's still really entertaining and I really like the characters. So this series is a cozy fantasy series. The tagline of the first one is like low stakes, good company, something like that. Legends and Lattes, we're following, what's her name? Viv, who's a retired orc, as she starts to run a coffee shop and the relationship that forms there. Whereas in Bookshops and Bone Dust, which is a prequel, we're following Viv after she's been injured and she has to wait at a small town to recover before her crew come back and collect her. And there she stumbles across an old rundown bookshop with a little, what's her name? Oh, I can't remember her name, but she makes the friend of the person who works there, and she helps out with like restoring the bookshop and getting it back up on its feet. As I said, I work in a bookshop. I just love books about people who work at bookshops. But yeah, I gave this one 3 stars. I wish it had been more centred on the making of the bookshop, whereas it kind of had a side plot that ended up becoming the main plot that I didn't care as much about. And as always, the vibes were great. They're so cozy, they're so fun. You read them so quickly. Her friend's name was Fern, I remember now, and the scenes in the bookshop with Fern were my favourite. Fern was really, really funny, quite rude, quite crude humour, but she was so funny. I found the rest of the plot a little bit confusing because it wasn't the main focus until like midway through, so it hadn't been like that expanded upon until all of a sudden it was the main plot, and then I was kind of like, I don't really know what's happening. But other than that, I enjoyed it. Like, I like the characters, I like the vibe, I really loved the scenes that were set in the bookshop. There's a little bit of romance in this again. The thing is with the romance, because this is a prequel, you know that she doesn't end up with this character because she ends up with someone else in Legends and Lattes, and it kind of is phrased as like they know it's like a summer fling, but they were really cute. And yeah, this one's sapphic as well. I forgot to mention the Voyage of the Damned. Dee is bisexual, and in this one, I don't know if sexuality, she doesn't say, but it's a sapphic romance. So yeah. I absolutely love the cover of these books. Like, they're so pretty. The spines are so cute together. Next up is a little bit of a random one. This book has like 5 ratings on Goodreads, and it's a super rare book, but only because no one wants it. It's a little graphic novel. It was like 40 pages. I literally read it in about 10 minutes, but it was great. Loved it. 5 stars. Fame. It's about Suzanne Collins, who wrote The Hunger Games. I got this for Christmas, and I thought, why not? Let's read it in January. I do have to be careful with this one because there's not very many of them that were printed, so I won't tap too much on it because I don't want to destroy it. But yeah, this was very similar to the Little People Big Dreams book series, if you know of those. It was literally like a 40-page graphic novel about Suzanne Collins' journey from being in the TV field to writing The Hunger Games. I really liked it. I love the Hunger Games, love Suzanne Collins. So I was very happy to learn more about her, and I learned a lot from her. The art style was really fun. If I can find. It was very like cartoony. I really liked it. And the answer for this debate is Team Peter, all the way. I wish there was a more up-to-date version of this one, because it kind of ends with like, oh, and her best-selling Hunger Games trilogy, blah, blah. I'm like, wow, there's two more. So I'd love a more up-to-date one of this, but it will never happen, because who wants this other than me? No one. But I gave this 5 stars. I really liked it. Next, I read one of my most highly anticipated books for the year, which was The House of My Mother by Sherry Frankie. I read this as soon as I got it. It was so good. 5 stars. Literally everything I read this month was 5 stars, except for Bookshops and Bone Dust. But this was so good. Sherry's writing voice was just so well done. She's a very good writer, and she did a very good job of explaining everything. Like, if you hadn't have watched the 8 Passengers channel, you'd still be able to get on with this, because she explains everything very well. But this was just so heartbreaking. If you don't know, this is written by Sherry Frankie, who's the eldest daughter of Ruby Frankie, who owned the 8 Passengers YouTube channel, and she was arrested in 2023 for aggravated child abuse. And this is Sherry Frankie basically recounting her childhood, what it was like to grow up living with her mum, who was always more abusive than we knew of, and how they got into being with Jodie Hildebrandt and the cult that is Jodie Hildebrandt. This was just really interesting, but so heartbreaking. But I'm so glad that Sherry was able to share this in a way that she wanted to, and she was very respectful of her siblings. She doesn't mention any of them by name other than her oldest brother, who's over 18. So I love how she's protecting her siblings even in the book. But I highly recommend this one, even if you've never watched 8 Passengers. But yeah. Next one is the true highlight of my month. This has immediately gone into one of my number 5 books of all time. I absolutely love this. I've made everyone I know read this. I literally had an arc of this that I got for free, and I went out and spent £30 of my own money on a limited special edition, which is this one here. This is The Favourites by Lane Fargo. Yeah, I spent £30 on this edition when I had one that I got for free, but it's just absolutely, oh, if I can get this off, be careful, a stunning edition. And like, as soon as I finished it, I was like, I need a special copy. But this one is signed by Lane Fargo, and I've got number 1012 out of 1500, which is so exciting. But this was absolutely incredible. If you take one book recommendation from this video, let it be this one. So good. Perfect if you like any Taylor Jenkins Reid books, if you like the film I, Tonya, if you're into skating in general. It was just incredible. I felt so connected to the characters. I cried, I laughed. This was just such a good time. We're following Katerina and Heath, who are childhood skating partners and childhood sweethearts on essentially their journey to the Olympics, and their relationship and how that grows, how it falls apart. They how their relationship grows and how it falls apart, and how in one of the competitions they go to, there's a massive falling out that means that they end their skating partnership. And yeah, it was just absolutely incredible. It was a bit like reading reality TV, but a little bit more literary. I did not want it to end. When I finished it, I was like, it's done. No, I don't want to finish it. Also a mixed media element in this, because like Daisy Jones and the Six, it's following a TV show that's been made about it. So we are at I think it's the 10th anniversary, something like that, and they're making a TV show about what happened, to kind of set the record straight. And so it's told in Kat's perspective in a chapter of prose, and then it's told in interview format with a bunch of the other characters who are speaking retrospectively about the events that happened. Katerina and Heath will go down as one of my favourite fictional couples ever. They were just so meant for each other. I don't know. This isn't a romance. There's definitely heavy romance in it, but I wouldn't categorise it as a romance. It's definitely more literary, but it was just incredible. And as I said, if you take one recommendation from this video, let it be this one. Next was another one of my highly anticipated reads of the month, which was Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros, which I also gave 5 stars. I think this is probably the weakest one out of the trilogy so far, but based solely on my entertainment factor, 5 stars. The ending. How are we meant to wait like 2 years? Yeah, the plot is definitely slower in this one. I'm not going to give any plot because obviously we're 3 books in, massive spoilers, but it was definitely slower than the first 2, but there was a lot more character building and world building. And although I don't think this was a filler book, its intention was definitely to get a certain character from point A to point B to set up for the next ones, but I'm glad that we have a book for that. Again, Violet and Xaden are one of my favourite book couples ever. I don't think love fully describes what they have for each other. I really wouldn't be surprised if in a later in a later one of these books, we find out that like they actually do have a mating bond or something similar, because they're just so perfect for each other. Yeah, the ending was so crazy. I have so many theories, but I absolutely love this one, and I'm so sad I have to wait 2 years for the next one. Someone who came to the event gave me these 2 things, which are so cute. Her Instagram or Etsy, I'm not sure, is Runes and Relics UK, if you want to check her out. But she gave me this sticker that says Book of Brennan on it. And then also so excited by these. Okay, and now finally, my final book of the month was a reread. To be prepared for Sunrise on the Reaping, which comes out March 18th, the newest Hunger Games book. I'm rereading all of the Hunger Games books. I think this is probably my 10th reread of this book, but I reread the Hunger Games. This is my original beat-up copy that I just love with all my heart. It's definitely going to fall apart on me one day. Like, the pages are literally falling out. I've read this so many times. And the day that happens is the day that I take this somewhere and pay a lot of money to get it fixed. But I just love this book. This time I went through, I've highlighted it in the past, but I went through and put tabs in. There's a lot of them. I loved it just as much as always. The first time I read this, I gave it 8 stars because I was 13 and thought that I was funny. Now it can just have a regular old 5 because Goodreads doesn't go up to 8. And Peter Malark supremacy always. Peter Malark is my number 1. Yeah, I'm currently rereading Catching Fire. And I'm going to do Mockingjay in February as well. And then I think I'm going to leave Ballad to read in March. But absolutely, 10 out of 10, my favourite. Okay, so those are all of the books that I read in January. I would love to say I'll read this many for February, but probably not. Although I've already read one and we're only on the 3rd, so maybe. I always find at the start of a new year, my love for reading kind of just comes back with a vengeance. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and comment down below what the best book is that you read in January. Amazingly, they didn't drill the entire time I was filming this, so that's a success. I'm going to wrap this up now because it's already half an hour long. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like and comment and subscribe if you want to, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.